Hello and welcome back to the FVEC Best of Motorsport 7. We are qualifying for round 2 of the championship here at the Bernese Alps Stadtplatz circuit. A very technical one and a fictional one at that. This track obviously not being one to exist in real life. Once again, cars are going to be ghosted throughout the entirety of qualifying, meaning the only person to mess it up is going to be yourself. Of course, you can't get distracted by tyre smoke as well as the ghosts of other cars, but you cannot get impeded, you cannot get any slipstream. It is completely down to the driver's skill as it is. Moving on down, very late braking zone for turn 3, also known as drop-off, if you know the corner names of this circuit. The Stadtplatz layout doesn't have us going around the full section behind that mountain, so as us cutting across over this little bridge section for steeply rising up the hill of turn 9 and 10. You stay too far to the left over this, you will get airtime. We might see some of that in the race. Of course, track limits for qualifying is going to be completely Forza clean, but moving on to the race, there is going to be the allowance to run up on that banking around the final corner. You get it right, you can get some very quick runs down to turn 1, possibly going to be seeing some moves, some of that. However, the only way to be able to find out is to know. We're going to ride along with Cardude for this, who will set the inaugural lap time. Look at the map, heading down towards turn 2, a long left-hander. You head underneath the final section of the track, and then it's down all the way, a little bit of a braking zone before you get continuing down a very steep section for turn 3, then it's a small little corner of turn 4, and then turns 5 and 6. Gonna really slam on the brakes though, because you can get deceived to brake a little earlier than you need to there by the game's line. We'll have a look behind, see if anybody has went off, and all 5 cars that were with this group have survived through turn 6 and 7. Heading through turn 8, also known as Dam, then up towards turn 9. Once again, don't want to keep it too far to the left, just a little bit off that. Cardude catching a little bit of air if you hear the engine rev up. Then the section between turn 10 and 14, all the way at the final corner. Can even be called to turn 15 here, as Sassium already on to limp back to pit lane, so presumably getting some damage. It'll be a 1:24.009 for Cardude, moving up to first place provisionally. Skoda goes second with a 1:24. And we will bring the player focused up. Slasa steals first place at 1:23.332. Very good effort from them. Cardude remaining second place with 1:24.009. Skoda 1:24.317. Moving on down the rubber grid. Going to be Senna in 4th place, a 1:24.411, 1:24.495 for Pixels, it's very close here in the midfield. Then a 1:25.409 for Scarly 42, not going to be a good qualifying so far for her. 7th place is a dirty 1:24.892 and a dirty 3 minutes and 12 for Rosenquist and Saskiamol respectively. Moving on back up here. Move over to the replay cameras once again, as we have a loading screen that is indicative of a disconnect. We are a couple of minutes into the session, we might be outside of that restart window. We'll have a look at who's dropped. It's going to be Rosenquist. That dirty lap time is going to be restricting them to P7 at best. As Skoda now moves up into second place with a 1:23.566. 1:23.594 for Cardude and a 1:24.060 for Pixel. Scarlet not far behind, a 1:24.113 for there. Things are heating up very quickly. All of these drivers are very fast in their own right. The way the lap times are sitting, Skoda VRS could be one of the ones to watch heading towards this race. Get a good start and you could lead. It can be notoriously difficult to overtake here in the certain areas, and it can also be very dangerous to do so. Get it wrong, you'll send yourself and obviously your opposition off into the walls, and that could be calling you for a safety car. A little bit of wall contact there, that's going to be a dirty lap now for Skoda. The 1:57 is a better lap time for Saskia Moll. However, she will need to continue improving if she wants to be able to take P7 away from Rosenquist. If that is still a dirty lap, of course we have no way of knowing as it stands. The game doesn't tell us, rather ungratefully. Cardude seems to have moved back into second position, a 1:23.540. Again, there is nothing between this midfield, but Salas up at the front, a 1:22.979. That's a very impressive lap time there from that driver. Moving down the field, things are sort of staying just about the same as is. We'll take a look at the telemetry readings for pixels as he heads through the circuit. Of course, this track is just constant little adjustments in these small places, small steering inputs, especially at these speeds, and small little taps of the brake. This section here, between turns 10 and 14, is one of the most tricky. You can take it flat for a large majority of it, but you've got to get it right. And if you don't, you're going to be punished the entire way through with a bad exit off of turn 14 and 15. Into the wall, maybe goes Pixels, not quite sure. He might have got away with that. Didn't see any sparks come into that car. That could be a good end to the lap time. However, moves down to 6th place. Scarlett moving ahead from the seams of things. Take a look at the lap times of a couple of cars. And they know it's Senna who's moved up, a 1:23.426 into 2nd place for the Scotsman, a long-time runner of the Forza events, joining us all the way back in Formula E Season 1. Things are still very close between 3rd and 4th. Cardude and Skoda not having any difference between them, only about 23 milliseconds. However, according to my timer on my clock, there should be just under 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Not going to be many shots left the rest of this lap, and one more for all our drivers is all they are going to get. Of course, you dirty it anywhere past turn 10 at the top of that hill, that's it. Because the next lap will be dirty. My apologies once again, my voice is starting to get a little bit hoarse. Just about 40 seconds remaining in qualifying. Car number 7 of Saskia Moll, or position number 7, sorry, has come into bother around turn 6. Very likely overshooting that braking zone, heading off into the barriers on the outside. That is going to be a very easy mistake to make, and it could be a very, very hard one to come back from if you make it in the race. the timer on my phone has went off. Position number 1 has indeed stopped. That's going to be Selassie, still the 122.979. Senna looking to take second place with a 123.426. We're not too far behind. It's going to be Cardu, the 123.543, and once again, not far behind that, Skoda VRS a 123.566. Pixels a 123.692 makes once again quite a close gap, and Scarly 42 a 123.760. The only big gap there is going to be to Saskia with a 136.516, and of course Rosenqvist did disconnect from the session. However, that lap time will be recorded. If it is better than Saskia's, then pending it isn't dirty, they will be put into 7th place. A couple of cars still left to come over the line, finishing up their lap. One of them's going to be Sass, one of them's going to be Cardu to go faster, one of them's going to be Senna. Jumping over to the leading car, 123.543 to beat. Going down the final straight, heading towards the line. Who doesn't improve? Senna does, a 123.133. A big improvement there, moving up nearly to the top space. However, that is going to be qualifying over. Selassie a 122.979, the only car to break past that 23-second barrier. Senna getting the second closest at 123.133, and third place on the grid will be going to LS Cardu, setting a time of a 123.543. Skoda's up next. Again, a 123.5, but this time it is a 566. Not too far behind is going to be Pixels, 123.692 for him. Scotty 42, a surprisingly low 6th place after winning the first race, a 123.760, and then Saskia Mall down in last place at 136.516. We're not sure if that lap is dirty or not. However, we will be able to find out if they are placed ahead of Rosenqvist or not come the race. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back very, very soon to have the grid sorted out and all the cars are banked out of the lobby. We'll be going racing at the Bernese Alps stat. Eventually we'll get off this loading screen, indeed we do. Welcome back to the Formula Velocity Sports Championships Best of Forza Motorsport 7. Round 2 here at the Bernese Alps Stadtplatz circuit. Going for the formation lap after another quite close and intense qualifying session. Selassie takes first place with a 122.979. Second place goes to the car of McLaren Senna 18, a 123.133 put in on his last attempt in qualifying. A very impressive result from him, and one is definitely to be proud of. Cardu takes third place, a 123.543, and only 23 milliseconds behind is going to be the car of Skoda VRS, setting a 123.566. Then just a little bit further down, Pixels, a 123.692. Hopefully we'll have the camera to change behind. There was a little bit of a sneak peek there of Pixels' car, but here it is in full FV colours for this event. Once again, not too far back from Pixels, setting a 123.760 was Scarly 42. You can see just behind Pixels there, and from the looks of it, in 7th place is decided to go to Saskia Mall. Very interesting proposition there, considering Rosenqvist's time was faster than Sass's during qualifying. Speaking of Rosenqvist, just behind in 8th place is where they are after an unfortunate disconnect from qualifying. They are going to be joining us for the race, and also joining us for the race is going to be Eldorado 2009. Wasn't here for the first race, but will be here for the second. We're going to jump back up to the front with Selassie coming around into the ending area of the circuit. Of course, for this event, you are allowed to run up on that banking fully. Cars are doubling up, 80 miles an hour, 2x2. Selassie selecting the left-hand side of the circuit, the inside for turn 1. Sass seems to be sacrificing her position in the background. Here we come up to the line now. Selassie getting what seems to be, in fact that line's very far, but Selassie gets a bit of a better launch over Senna. Senna's having to stick for the outside route, but that could be very detrimental considering Cardew. No, Cardew doesn't manage to get there. Cardew stays in third place. Skoda's down for Scarlett. He's immediately up into fifth place, getting past Pixels with ease. So I forget to take away the formation lap dialogue there. Coming around the circuit, heading onto the downhill sections of turn 3. It's a very steep drop here. You're going to gain a lot of speed heading towards turns 4, 5 and 6, and it can be a very deceptive braking zone. Jumping on board over the game cameras, we'll just have a look behind of all those cars. Here comes Senna, higher speed, having a look on the inside. That could be very ambitious, but doesn't go for it and runs out wide. There's a lot of cars going wide in the background as well, all of them staying on track somehow. However, Selassie got that corner perfect for what they needed to do. It's going to be getting ahead of all the cars behind them. Cones go flying in the background, possibly 3 wide behind. We'll have to jump back to see what is going on down there. Jumping forward with Skoda VRS. Going down the inside of Cardew, moving around turn 8 and 9. Up the hill, here coming to the final sector. You want to stay over to far to the left there. You could jump as we've seen there. But Skoda's up into 4th place. We could see a move up into the banking. Not deciding to go for it. Cardew does though. Skoda having to look on the race. The engine gets going. There comes Cardew round the outside. That's a very good run, and we've had a disconnect from somebody in the race. Of course, we're not going to be able to see a bit of contact over here from the loading screen. And Cardew indeed has managed to get ahead. That's going to be, from the looks of things, Sassy Amal has quit out of the race. Pixels into pit lane immediately. And Cardew moving up into 3rd place now, running very far out of track though on the right hand side. This is technically outside of track limits, however, I don't know what the conditions are for the race. Selassie running away just a little bit, and Senna getting a bit away from this group here, but 3rd, 4th and 5th are going to be right on top of each other. We've had another disconnect heading down the hill. Can't quite tell who that is. All cars seem to be going fine at the front. Scarlett's going to be having a look down the outside and into the inside for the next corner. And that's going to be a big crash. Cardew spun around hard into the wall. Might be colliding another car in the background. That car is going to be crippled. We'll have a quick jump over to the damage on that, and that is ruined. Everything is broken on that car except for the rear suspension. That's a long way from home as well, and a big climb up a hill. I don't even know if that car will be able to get up the hill. However, we'll jump back up. This battle for 3rd place is still going to be very raging on, but Scarlett's got damaged as well. That could be cause for a caution. It is. It is going to be a caution. They have slowed down up at the front, and their first caution of the season is out. Selassie will hold the lead. 2nd place going to Senna, and 3rd will be Skoda's. 4th place is Rosenquist. A big come up from the back there for them. We possibly might have had another disconnect. We are not that far into this race. They might be electing to go for a restart possibly if we drop any more, but we are on lap 4. And that is Cardew backing out. Obviously not going to be able to get up that hill. Very, very unfortunate. But such is how things go in motorsport. Sometimes you could have the best day of your life. Other times you could have complete disasters like this. It wasn't a great round 1, however he did fight back up to 3rd place. But this time it will be a DNF. All cars are looking to be going to be caught up for this lap, including Dorado at the back. We're going to be jumping over to Skoda, a surprise quick driver. Restarts are going to be single file for all of them. Should be going green at the end of this lap. However, the car in behind has dropped just a little bit, jumping over to Rosenquist. There might be something wrong with that car. They'll have a quick look on the damage telemetry. Doesn't have anything wrong, but they're going to be regaining their position. We started with 9, we're going to be continuing on with 7. Going to be single file, coming to the restarts. Lass is in control of the field now. Coming up to the line, Rosenquist electing to not take. Rosenquist going to pit lane, an interesting very late call there. Off of the end of the caution. Lassa goes green once again, coming over the line. Senna seems to have got a bit of a better launch. However, Skoda is going to be for the inside of that corner. There goes Scarlet, possibly going to go around. The car drifting all the way through, getting very twitchy. Somehow keeps going in a straight line. However, will be hemorrhaging speed. Skoda's moving up to second though. Gets past Senna quite easily. Pixels up into fourth. Where is the car? Scarlet is there in the background. Dorado is also there. But way in the distance is going to be Rosenquist once again, going to be driving all on the drone unless another caution comes up with it. It's entirely possible. Here comes third and second, going to be going together again all the way downhill. It's very high speed section. Anything can happen there. If you get it just a little bit wrong, you can send yourself and your competitor off the track. Hard braking at the downhill section. You've got to get it right. Don't run out too far. That's a little bit of contact. Somehow both drivers keeping it all the way in. However, Pixel is going to be lurking there behind. Skoda gets ahead just temporarily. We'll move over to the game cameras as they give us a better view of what's happening. Senna's going to be on the inside all the way up this corner. It's a very long left-hander. Don't get glued together, guys. Senna will have the disadvantage of the jump, though. Skoda will keep his car on the ground at all times. There's a little bit more contact. He could very nearly influence in the crash. Senna just ekes ahead. Taking a look behind. Skoda electing to take up the high road and might get a better of a run. Scarlet getting pushed under by Pixels. Here comes Skoda, a little bit of better on the corner. Senna keeps defending the inside. Celeste is going to be running away. Here comes Scarlet in the background though. Having a look, might be getting off the slipstream. Jumping over to Pixels. Scarlet will have the inside line. Lock of the brake there for Pixels. Not going to turn in. The car just doesn't grip. Indeed, Scarlet moves up into P4. However, the battle just ahead is still raging on. And it could be a three-way fight for P2 as it stands now. Take a look at the body acceleration throughout this corner. As you continue downhill, your car accelerates very hard, and then it's a very hard on the brakes, very hard right-hander, 2.5 Gs at the absolute peak there. Senna's run wide, a little bit of a corner. Scott's going to get boxed in between himself. As I am losing all the ability to control throughout everything. Scott's going to be on the outside, Senna on the inside. It's going to be a repeat of not too long ago between these two. We make it 3 wide. Did it go 3 wide here? Scott backs out, a little bit of contact there from Skoda, letting Senna know he's on the inside. Senna's going to have the inside line now for the next section of corners. He could just be able to get anything goes. He does get ahead. Scott is dropped behind quite a decent bit. Pixels electing to take up the banking. No driver seemingly wanting to take it unless setting themselves up for a mood. Here comes Scarlet though, seeming to have a better exit off of the corner. We can hear the engine tone just a bit. And indeed, she's going to be right there behind Skoda. Might be looking to turn one. Does go for it. A little bit of lockup from Skoda. There'll be contact between the two cars. Skoda's going wide over the pit lines, nearly somehow keeps it in, but here comes Pixels. He's going to be on the inside for the next corner. He might have a look at it, but backs out last second. Skoda not relenting any, chasing down Scarlet. Here we go downhill again. Very hard sliding contact into the wall. That's not going to give you any damage, but it is going to slow you down quite a lot from the car in front of you. It's not what you need, but it could avoid you coming to a crash if you just miss your braking zone that little bit trying to catch up. Speaking of missed braking zones, though, it looks like Senna didn't get a great exit off of the corner. We'll jump ahead to the car of Scarlet just in third place. Keep an eye on that battle in the background. However, the battle for second is raging out between these two drivers. Mirrors flying everywhere from cars coming into contact with each other. Cars getting a little bit of air. The fastest line is there, getting very close to the left-hand side wall. Left-hand side wall, contact there for Senna. He's going to be spinning all the way through. He's going to lose traction. He's going to have to go up in the banking, trying to salvage something back. Scarlet's up into second. Here comes Senna, though. A little bit of a better run. from the helping of that banking. He's going to have the solution all the way. Scarlet might have hit into the wall there just a little bit. Here comes Senna. He's going to be going for the revenge move down to turn 1. Higher speed is on the inside line. Scarlet will have to concede later on the brakes though. A little bit of right contact in the wall. He's going to be having to try and move around the outside. Somehow gets it done. It isn't over yet though. Senna is still going to be right there, just behind. Once again, they go descending down the very long hill, all the way to this hard braking zone. There's a left-hander and it's upside for turn 6. Scarlet may have been a little bit late on the brakes there. Pixels may have been even later. However, all drivers still making it through nice and cleanly. Bringing the map back up, this battle is still raging on. They have dropped Dorado and Rosenquist just a little bit, and Salasa. Long as this goes on runaway, Senna's in the wall though. Here comes Skoda once again. We're heading up the hill. Skoda's easily ahead. Senna lost just a little bit of speed. That's going to let Scarlet run away. That might be her break that she needs to be able to try and catch up to first place. Pixel's letting to try and go for the banking one more time. However, his rear wheel's caught at first, and he's going to be sliding just a little bit going through the corner. Baldwin, whoever gets the better exit. It looks to be Skoda doing a little bit more. However, both of them going to be diving into pit lane. Pixel stays out, as does Scarlet. Will jump up to Scarlet for now. This isn't Scarlet. Slash is also in. Going to be an interesting one for the pit stops here. Slash is going to need to have a very, very poor outlap if Scarlet wants any hope of making a double win tonight. And that's not going to help. Every little bit of wall contact will bleed you of speed, will bleed you of stability, and you've got to get that car back into shape before you continue any. A little bit of tyre smoke emanating just from the tyres squealing for grip up there around turns 5 and 6. Cones also during the track as well. You don't hit any of them. They could throw your car sideways. You hit them wrong, but they will definitely reduce your speed. That one thing is for certain. We will keep an eye on this battle here, but Senna and Skoda are still going at it. There's a car looking to be wrecked. That's going to be Dorado heading through turn, what I'm pretty sure is 13. Proving number 13 does strike unlucky for some. Beautifully mastering it. Senna having a very ambitious look to the inside. Might be trying to minimize that corner just a little bit there. Dorado on the outside. That car is definitely going to be damaged. It's going to be limping back to pit lane. Thankfully there's nobody around. He can get there safely now. But he will be in dead last once again. Out in the lead. Having a look at it, it is still Scarlet who's had to stay out. As we have lost a car. That's Senna's disconnected. Two becomes 3, and one of the closest battles on track has went the favour of Skoda. And that will open everything up just a little bit. That is a number of cars gone. 1/3 of the grid has disconnected from the race. But an interesting one. Pixel's up in second, close to that lead. However, Salasa is chasing them down to third place. Those fresher tyres, as well as the pit advantage. There was a caution, and it all depends who did pit under that caution. Getting a note as well that Cardude's game crashed as he reached pit lane, and there goes another one. As we are down to 5 now. That's Rosenquist has gone. Six becomes 5, and anyone remaining in this race has a very good opportunity to score a decent chunk of points. Even if you are a lap back at this stage, if you stay in the race, you will still be able to get those points. As it stands, if indeed Scarlet does not need to pit again, she will be taking a double win. However, it's going to be Pixel's P2. But there is still a long way to go. Anything could happen. We could have more disconnects, we could have more game crashes, we could have more car crashes for anything we know. The only way to find out is just wait and see what happens. Once again, anyone live in the Twitch chat, please throw their name if you want me to, and I will follow along with them for as long as I can. Into pit lane goes a car. That's going to be Dorado. Once again, here comes Scarlet, and Pixels might get caught up in this if they're not careful. That car seems safely out of the way of Scarlet, but coming out onto track, it's going to be in the way of Pixels. A little bit of a lock up there into turn one. However, Dorado stays to the outside line, easily concedes the blue flags, and lets Pixels on by. While we wait for things to close up at the front, we'll take a look at our new arrival for this race. No qualifying time, but running in 5th place as it stands. Of course, Dorado hasn't been around the Forza side quite as long as some of the rest of the names in the race. However, still decently paceable in his own right. But saying that, though, he goes off the track, just barely avoids a hard contact with the barrier. And if you ever wanted to prove that the curse of the commentator exists, there is all that you need. Salasa moves on by, Dorado conceding to the blue flags very easily. One thing I'm noticing, Pixel seems to be making a little bit of ground up on Scarlet for 1st place. As Skoda makes his way past Dorado, putting him a lap down on everyone. Car number 42 continues to lead the race. 29 is in 2nd. And then as we continue on down the grid, Salasa 3rd place to complete the podium. 4th place will be Skoda VRS provisionally. 5th place Dorado. And then as far as DNFs go, well, do we have a lot of them. 6th place will be classified as Rosenquist, 7th to Senna, 8th to Cardude, and 9th to Sassy Mall. As things stand, we've got about the same amount of number of people disconnected from this race as we have still running. Of course, once again, the variety in liveries on display here is very, very diverse. It's something that you don't see in the F1 games, considering in Forza you can paint your car however you like. Running around with Salasa here, got a very obviously inspired by Cyberpunk livery. But up at front, moving currently in 1st place, is Scarlet 42 with the Nerve livery, obviously inspired from Evangelion. And then in 2nd, bit of a throwback livery, but a very iconic one at that, the Viper for Formula Velocity Racing for FV Pixels. Continuing our quick little look at the liveries. 4th place, Skoda VRS, a Horizon 2012 Forza Horizon 1 livery, commemorating the yellow Viper driver on the intro drive, who never gets named throughout the series. An odd one to commemorate, but a very fair enough one at that. Considering this Viper in this colour scheme, the yellow and the black stripes, was a cover car as far as I'm aware for Forza Horizon 1. That livery getting slightly changed about, but also a tribute being made for the best of FM7 series. Moving on down to 5th place Eldorado 2009. This livery, having a look at it, is not quite finished. Only a gold front with the number boards as required on it. Hopefully this car does look a little bit better in the coming rounds. Dorado just struggling ever so slightly throughout the corner, nearly getting into the tyre barrier once again. I think it'd be a good idea if I stopped flicking over to Dorado, considering that it's twice now I've nearly caught him having an accident of his own. I'll take the map away just for a second, leave the ticker on at the top. There's not much to say as things go as far in this race. All cars are quite spaced out on track, not likely to see each other the rest of the way. Cautions are officially no longer going to take place. Lap 15 of 16. You can just see how flowing the Alps circuit can be throughout some of these onboard shots as well. It can be very high-speed corner, or high-speed corner intensive track, sorry. You do need the fair bit of downforce to be able to get around some of these corners at any semblance of speed, but then you're losing out on your top end as well at sections like this. A balance of top end and grip is absolutely vital. You can be flat out all the way through here, possibly even run up on that banking as we see Skoda do just here. And if you get that perfectly right, just like that, you can get a very good exit onto this final corner, possibly even getting a run on anybody that is there. Of course, since all the cars are spaced out, we're not going to be able to quite see just that like we had hoped to at the beginning of this race, but that is no problem. There's still plenty more races in this championship to come. Moving on back up to first, we'll follow along with our current leader. The final lap of the race coming around turn number 6. Through 7 and then over the dam, turn number 8. Depending on how you classify corners, it could also be turn number 9 coming over here before you ascend up the hill, cross the final timing checkpoint and do a little bit of a jump on the left hand side for turn 10. Then into 11, 12, 13 and then 14 to round off the circuit again, depending on what you count as a corner. This could even be number 15 over at the end. However, a completely unchallenged run after getting into first place. Coming over the line to win 2 for 2. Scarly 42 will win the Bernese Alps round. Pixels will come home in second place and Salasa will round off the podium in third. Fourth place will be going to Skoda VRS, rounding the final corner. A very, very good drive for him, and after not setting a qualifying time, all he needs to do is just finish the race. He may be a lap down, but the end of race timer could allow him to get to the end within a reasonable amount of time. So until he reaches the end and something now can happen, we will just return and take everything off and watch. A little bit of hard wall impact there coming around turn number 9 and 10. We'll have a quick look to see if that is any damage to that car. It is wobbling around like so, but somehow gotten away with it. As he rounds the final corner for the last time in this race, sliding once again hard into that wall. It will not matter now though, P5 on debut without qualifying, although the circumstances around this race are a little bit more than marred for some. It'll be P5 for Eldorado 2009. That will conclude round 2 of the FVEC Best of Forza Motorsport. As you heard earlier, don't go anywhere. Thursday at sometime in the afternoon, currently decided, won't be earlier than 8 PM, it won't be later than about 9:30 if I had to take a guess. I don't quite know ourselves yet, but you will definitely not want to miss it. If the racing is anything like that, it will be very, very worth it to come and watch. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later in the week.